Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. We are back after a brief pause. I was super buried in work and I'm still actually neck deep in work, and it's very busy. But I also had to take a brief pause for my 30th because obviously I had some celebrations, some plans, and then some a recovery period, which is also why Wars 4 and 5 haven't been uploaded. I have recorded War 5 and that's gonna come up shortly. But yeah, so heads up for War 5. It's quite short, but really funny. Now, here I had some sort of connection issues, so I just wanted to quickly turn on my Wi-Fi just in order to make sure that everything is kind of like functioning properly in game, to double and triple check, because like disconnect death is the last thing that I would want. And as you can see here, it's taking its time, but finally we're there. So we are on path 7 in section 1 and path 4 in section 2. And for this particular fight against Ebony, he doesn't have anything like too special. Obviously he's a stubborn defender, but there's like power bond and matador, so I will not be gaining power unless he drops a special attack, and that is about it. And obviously Human Torch will have a fantastic matchup because Ebony Maw is a mystic character, and we're going to be gaining a ton of smolders, and that means we're going to have a ton of damage. And also Human Torch has the added benefit of not missing if he's above like 10% of a bar power. Now here I made a mistake and I got parried, so that is just definitely a user error that you do need to be quite careful in wars, because accidental parries do happen more than people would like to admit. But yeah, obviously Human Torch can't miss, and that's going to be like key in this fight, in addition to the fact that these falters are actually slowly but surely healing me up as well. So I'm not too shy in kind of like taking too many hits in my block. Unfortunately, Ebony Maw typically kind of like goes hit double medium, so even when I re-parry, since both of his mediums are projectiles, it was quite hard to land that stun in. But that quite brutal but the brutal amount of damage from my smolders finish off the fight quite quick anyway. So even though it wasn't like the most fluid kind of fight, it went well. And now next 3 fights, I'll be absolutely honest, I wasn't scheduled to take, and it was just an alliance mate not being around and somebody else not wanting to do the fights, and then me not being too happy about it, because that was Friday, kind of like midday afternoon, and it was quite important to me to finish the war relatively early, because I was planning to go out straight after work. So I just kind of took the matters in my own hands. Obviously I wouldn't do it if the war was closer than it was, because at that point already it was quite late in the day, and it was quite clear unless something drastic happens, we're gonna win the war. And I just went in with my Nick Fury because I knew Nick Fury can handle the Analyst fight decently well. Obviously not as well as let's say Dr. Doom would have, or Symbiote Supreme, which some of my teammates had available, but I knew that I'll probably be alright with Nick on these lanes as well. Even if I'm going to make some mistakes, at worst I'm going to cost myself some potions. And sure enough, a rank 3 Nick Fury took that guy down relatively safely. And the next fight here is Terrax, and I was looking at my champions, and I probably have no business taking this fight, but I will anyways. And yeah, so he has Outlast, Power Snack, Backup Recovery, but all in all, it's just a Terrax. Now, obviously, he's going to be dealing quite a lot of damage to me, basically thanks to his like energy damage aura. But also he's going to be placing armor breaks on me, which at a rank 3 6-star champion lets you mitigate a substantial amount of that damage. And even though he's bleed immune, and don't get me wrong, Nick Fury is definitely not a great matchup for this at all whatsoever. Do not use Nick Fury against Terrax in war. But at the same time, since it's a rank 3 Nick Fury, decently boosted, he can hang in there for a while. And I figured, since I have that whole double life thing available to me, and if I even happen to die or lose my life model decoy in this fight, then so be it. I'll still probably be quite alright. And this fight, as you can see, is lasting a while, obviously, because he's also getting those indestructible charges every time he drops a special attack. And I do need to let that aura expire now and then, because it just increases in strength and does significantly more and more damage as the time goes by. So I do have to be kind of like careful not to let him keep his aura up for too long. But at the same time, you can see that even taking all of that damage, minute and a half in the fight, I'm still at like 53%. He's halfway done. So long as I play relatively careful, I think I can finish this fight without losing my life metal decoy. And even if I do, it should kind of be alright. It's obviously taking a while. We are at 100 hits here at this point, and the fact that Terrax is bleed immune is obviously severely slowing me down. But slowly but surely, slow and steady wins the race, as they say. Again, it's not a good idea to do this at all. I was just in a bit of a rush, and again, the war wasn't as close, as serious. So these are one of those fine, I'll do it myself kind of fights. And yeah, so you can see a bunch of armor breaks on me, still keeping my health relatively okay, taking some damage. But whenever I dash away from those armor breaks, then yeah, I manage to heal back some up. And here we're kind of close. I'm at 17%, he's at 17%. But now we also go to the assassin's range, which is going to help me out a bit more. And we have that courage damage. So yeah, I finished the fight off at 17% at 170 hits against the Terrax. So yeah, that's a horrible matchup. Do not do that. Do not do that at home at all. And the next fight here, again, I wasn't really scheduled or planned to do this fight. And this is the annoying fight with Mixmaster, Oscillate, and whatnot. And for this fight, I'm just going to bring in Human Torch, because Human Torch obviously has a very, very advantageous matchup whenever opponent is, in fact, dealing energy damage. So every time I take a parry, I'm going to be getting a smolder. And I was feeling quite confident in my ability to fight Storm. I knew she's going to be glancing a lot, but then again, I knew that each and every single Nova Flame that I do kind of like squeeze through will in fact help me quite a bit to do like a lot of damage, especially as you can see my prowesses are already raising quite quickly. And obviously this node has aggression prowess node, which in theory obviously works really well for Storm because a lot of her abilities are prowess based. But if she never gets to that level 2, and level 1 is very simple to evade, then you don't really have much to worry about. Like, even if she has 50 prowesses, it's not like any part of her level 1 you absolutely have to take in block. All of it is relatively easy to dex, and especially in this case, I guess I'm quite fortunate that I made that how to defeat Storm Pyramid X uncollected boss video, and as a result of that, I ended up fighting her a lot that month, and I ended up evading a whole bunch of her level 1s. So I was always kind of relatively confident whenever level 1 came. I knew that I can evade it. I knew that I have the timing down, and that's actually quite kind of like a big window of decks. So even if the timing isn't always pretty much perfect, so long as you more or less know it, it's quite easy to evade that level 1. It's not like where you have dead tight swipes or anything like that. You have a relatively long pause in between the parts and the projectiles. And here we can see that slowly but surely 19 smolders in, she's pretty much down. Quick side note here kind of is obvious. I went with medium light combos, and by doing that I can pretty much fully bypass the Mixmaster. That's like the easiest combo to use when you are facing against Mixmaster. And yeah, so that basically let me play in a way where I get a lot of smolders, because after every medium light I would land a parry that would keep my temperature up, and that would give me a smolder. And after every time basically we placed a Nova Flame when she didn't glance, and all of them did add up together, and the fight did take a while, but it was definitely not hard. Now these fights are a bit later on in the day, and I was already after work, and I was already kind of like out having a bit of fun. So starting this point forward, you're not really going to see the best gameplay, even though that's not going to be all that noticeable for the first 2 fights, but it will definitely show itself with a very poor decision making in the Void fight. But first we need to get there. So obviously I brought in Venom purely because I was on path 4 and I saw that both of my opponents are spider characters, and then for a while I was thinking like, who should I bring in, who would be good? And I was actually quite ashamed of myself that I immediately didn't scream Venom, but eventually I did. So after like a bit of head scratching when selecting the team, I just figured that since both of my fights on path 4 are spider characters, obviously Venom's going to be pretty much perfect for them. Yes, I have Stubborn to deal with, but at the same time Venom just completely shuts down their evades, get that increased bleed accuracy, and should be able to close out those fights extremely quickly, extremely easily, and that he did. And now we're gonna go up against Stealth Suit Spider-Man. Now, Stealth Suit Spider-Man is not a stubborn defender, which is important now, which I actually didn't bother looking up initially, but hey, throughout the fight, I noticed it throughout the fight, and that made it all so much easier. And obviously, again, since I don't have to worry about the evade at all whatsoever, everything is just kind of like super easy for Venom here. You can see that like a couple of combos in, he's already at 69%. Now this has crumbling armor node, but who cares? The nodes on this lane are the steady build-ups, but again, I only get a debuff placed on me when they do evade, pretty much, I believe. And since I don't ever get the node debuffs placed on me. And additionally to that, I don't run suicides or don't really debuff myself, so it was a very kind of like simple fight, simple node. Level 2 in the fight is over. Now this is going to be a horrible fight though. This is also my last fight for the war, and it's important to note also that at this point definitely the war was already sealed. Otherwise I would have played it much better, or at the very least I probably would have healed up. But when I went in here, I just made one very quick judgment error, which kind of haunted the entire fight. And so here I lost my combo. He drops his level 2. Everything's so far, it's not perfect obviously, but it's okay. I'm gonna lose my real life model decoy at some point soon, but that's not the biggest deal. Here was the problem that after my level 2 he got 3 bars of power, and I made a mistake before he dropped his level 3. And that because I was not worried at the point where he got to his level 3, because I was just, I'm gonna eat it. But then I kind of forgot to bait out that level 3, and I just carried on fighting, and obviously my life got drained away. And a point where he does finally throw that level 3, well, he's at 15%. Obviously I don't have enough life to survive it, so that was a very, very silly, unnecessary death. 100% blame me, myself, and my kind of rush to finish the war for it. But all in all, it was quite decent, quite good war. I had quite a good fights in. I'm just gonna jump in here to finish it with Venom. Obviously, it's never cool to die, but again, at the same point, when the wars are not that close, it lessens the stress, it lessens the impact, I guess, on me, and sometimes I make some silly decisions or silly mistakes. But yeah, anyways, that was war number 4. We didn't win this war, so that's awesome. It was quite confident win as well there. Shout out to the opponents, obviously they did extremely well. And I'm gonna catch you guys soon. If you did like the war video, then hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and I'm gonna see you.